I'm not sure people today understand what a big deal Mario 64 was. You got to think in the 90s, Mario was already on top of the world. The best NES game, I think by a significant margin, is Super Mario 3. More people would say that than any other game. Super Mario 3 was absolutely amazing. Super Mario World was great and highly successful. You had Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. It was all great, but it was all 2D. It was all 2D. And, you know, Nintendo was coming out with this Nintendo 64 system, and they needed to make 3D games. It was designed to run 3D games, and nobody had really made a 3D platformer. I mean, they made 3D third-person games where you could move a character around, but they were very clunky. They weren't like fast and bouncy like the Mario games I mentioned. So Nintendo, they had to try to figure out how to do that, and their design philosophy was that they were going to make a game without any graphics. They were just going to have like a line that could jump around in 3D, and they wanted that to be fun before they even bothered to add graphics. So they spent a lot of time figuring out how the controls would work, how the camera would work. They eventually made the camera like a little guy on a cloud that would follow you around, and in some scenes there was a mirror so you could see it. But you know, nobody thought that Nintendo was going to be able to make the jump from 2D to 3D and have it be anything more than a gimmick. Yet they completely revolutionized gaming once again. Mario 64 came out. I remember walking into Nobody Beats the Wiz. It was the electronics store of the day, the Best Buy of the time. And I remember seeing this thing, and my mind was blown. You couldn't see the polygons on Mario. They were very clever with their character model, so it looked like his nose was curved. It looked like there were curved surfaces. The animation was just smooth and playful. When Mario would walk on grass, his footsteps would make like a grass sound. When he walked on sand, it would make a different sound. When he walked on stone, it would make a different sound. There were echo effects. The music was great, and it was fun. He could jump, and he had a voice for the first time ever. He was whoopee wahoo, you know. He had the triple jump. He could do all sorts of gymnastic flips and insane maneuvers, and it was an immediate smash hit. But it's not just a smash hit. This game defined how 3D games work. If you ever see a game that has a character on the screen and you move that character, if you take your stick, you push it left, your character goes left with respect to the camera, but the camera can move. So left doesn't always mean the same direction. In fact, if you hold left on the stick and you move the camera at the same time, your character will just run in circles. It's kind of a fundamentally different way to control characters. And you know, the camera on Mario 64 is not as good as present day games. There's a lot of weirdness that goes on with it. I mean, they didn't have two sticks. You had these C buttons to adjust the camera, but fundamentally it controls very similarly to Dark Souls, Demon Souls, any of the Souls games, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, all the new Star Wars games, almost anything. I would say that probably 80% of games on the market owe something to Mario 64 for working out how the camera and player movement would map to a controller with thumbsticks. They also had the first thumbstick, I believe, on a major console. So yeah, Mario 64 is, I would say, possibly one of the most, I mean, it's the most important video games ever in terms of like present day games and how they work. You could maybe argue that Super Mario 1 was maybe more important to the industry, but in terms of just creating a formula for how modern games work, it's all about the plumber in red.
Hi guys, my name is Damien, and today I'm going to tell you about the coolest video game ever made. Okay, so imagine you can only walk in a straight line your whole life. That was Mario before 1996. He could only go left or right, but then Nintendo came out and Super Mario 64 changed everything. It was the first time Mario was in 3D. When people first saw it, their brains basically melted because he could move anywhere. You could even grab his face on the start screen and stretch it like Play-Doh. To make Mario move in 3D, Nintendo had to invent a new controller. It had this gray stick in the middle called an analog stick. Before this, you just had a plastic plus sign button. In the old games, you just went from level 1 to level 2. In this game, you were in Princess Peach's castle. It was like a big playground. You had to jump into huge paintings to go to different worlds, like a desert or volcano. Instead of just reaching a flag at the end, you had to find power stars. There were 120 of them. Some were easy, but some were really hard, like racing a giant penguin or finding red coins while living in a wing cap. Even though the graphics looked a little blocky now, Mario's hands were basically circles. People still play this game every single day. Speedrunners try to beat the whole thing in less than 10 minutes by doing crazy glitches. Super Mario 64 basically the grandpa of every 3D game we've ever played today. Without it, we might not have Fortnite or Minecraft. It's a total classic. Now go get those stars.
It's me, Mario! Hello! Okie dokie!
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Let's go!
What?